I have generated millions in revenue for different organizations using these persuasion principles. So if you want to get more leads, if you want to convert at a higher rate, if you want to sell more or add more revenue to your business, I'm going to show you a fundamental principle of human psychology that will work for you. It's studied, it's based in science, and let's take a look at my trusty whiteboard here. What you're looking at right here is my favorite ever diagram of human psychology. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Rob, you have a favorite diagram? What is wrong with you? You sound like an odd gentleman. And to be honest, I think you have a point. But let's crack on with the video. Okay, so System 1 and System 2. Behavioral scientists have theorized that we actually have two different modes of thinking within our brains, two different systems, if you like. We have System 1, which operates on a fast, a subconscious, an automatic level where everyday decisions, are taken into account, but it's more error prone. And on the right, we have System 2, which is slow, conscious, effortful, complex decisions, reliable, right? System 1, if I was to leave my home for a job in the morning and I was to bend down and tie my shoelace, I would not need much brain power or processing power to tie my shoelace. It's pretty much an automatic behavior at this point because I've done it so many times in the past. At least I hope it's an automatic behavior at 36 years old. Well, I'd bend down, I'd tie my shoelace, it wouldn't require any real thinking. That would fall under System 1. It's fast, it's subconscious, it's automatic, it's an everyday decision. Now let's say I left my house and I've got to go and get a train to a different city. And here is where we start getting into System 2. I might be looking at the different train timetables and working out to myself, if I get this train right now in the next 2 minutes, travel through, what train do I need to jump on next? I'm having to manually calculate things. That is System 2, right? So System 1 is automatic behavior. System 2 is where I'm having to actually reason and think. If you think about AI models, we've got System 1, which is ChatGPT 5.0, where it just spits out an answer. It's probably not right, to be honest with you. Then you've got the reasoning models, which are thinking. That is basically System 1 and System 2. Now, it's really important we have these two different systems for a very specific reason. For instance, if I was to run everything through System 2 in the day, I wouldn't get anything done. Imagine if I tied my shoelace in the morning or made my cup of coffee and I had to think about logically how I tie the lace and how I put the little things through all the bits, right? Or how I brush my teeth an exact angle I'm working at, right? I wouldn't make it out of the house because psychology shows that I've actually got to make thousands and thousands and thousands of decisions throughout the day. And so if I put everything through System 2, I wouldn't make it out of the house. I'd be a massive failure in life. And I just basically wouldn't have time to do anything. I'd be tired, right? That is why we have System 1 and System 2. Now, the important part is, if we scroll down a little bit on my favorite diagram here, you can see actually that about 95% of our decisions come through System 1. We make most of our decisions quick, like that, automatic. We don't even know they're taking place. If you are, early in the morning, wherever you're watching this video from now, probably within the first 30 minutes of your day, you've already made around 50 decisions, right? You just don't know it yet. You've made a decision of how to get out of bed. You made a decision to, walk to the end of your bed, right? All these decisions are taking up all of our time. So we dedicate only about 5% of our time throughout the day and our brain power to the 5% of decisions which need to be made and need some form of reasoning. Makes sense so far? Now, behavioral scientists have actually come out with updated data saying that in a digital age, with social media, with AI, actually about 97% of our decisions now happen in System 1 and only about 3% of decisions happen in System 2. Because when we scroll on social media, we're having to make a decision about, is this important to us? Do we like this? Do we want to watch that reel? Do we want to, check out the fluffy animals on Instagram or whatever you do, right? But the point of this is that businesses have this tendency, at least from the companies and the organizations that I have consulted for, they have this tendency to forget about this completely. And what they do is they make all of their copy, they make all of their websites, all of their communications, they make everything as if the person is going to be in system 2 at all time. They will do an about me page, and in this about me page, they will have like massive reams of paragraphs, right? As if a person or a visitor to a website is going to sit down and think, you know what? I was going to enjoy my morning coffee this morning, but instead what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to read this about section because it's 10 pages long. So what happens is businesses design everything around if the person was very logical. So they end up converting a lot less. They will do a landing page and it will be tons of pages long. You've got to read through it, and this is the problem I've noticed. You've got to read through a landing page which is selling their main product to work out exactly what it is they're selling and to work out why it's important to me, when it should be in the first few bullet points at the top of the page. If we think about, we've talked on this channel about social proof, which is humans have this tendency to follow crowds to work out if it's trustworthy, to help manage their own uncertainty. And social proof, likewise authority as well, you know, when we look up to an authority figure and copy what they say, that all happens in system 1, right? We don't logically think about it. For instance, if your friend has been telling you some medical advice for a long time now, you've probably ignored your friend because you don't view them as an authority, but you might go to a doctor and get that exact same medical advice, and straight away, you just listen to entirely what they're saying and you follow through with what the doctor says, because what's happened is your system 1's activated. You've not questioned it at all. You're like, this person is an authority. It's like click, click, whir. This person is an authority. I will do what they say. And that's exactly how it works. So for your website, when I say communications, I mean emails, whether you're sending out letters, whether you're sending out text messages, WhatsApp, SMS, you got to think to yourself, how can you make it easy for the customer or the potential customer to understand what it is you want them to do, whether it's buy something, whether it's click a link. Embarrassing moment time. When I first started on social media some years ago, I used to think to myself, hey Rob, if you can just sound super smart and use big words when you're explaining things, people will listen to you more because they'll look at you and think, what a smart gentleman. And let me tell you, that did not work. It did not work at all. In fact, people would watch or read a little bit of it when I did customer research, and the overwhelming feedback was that we can see what you're saying is actually probably quite important, but we just don't take it in, right? And so the thing is that you either sound smart and everyone ignores you, or you sound easy to understand and everyone listens to you. And there really is no in between there. And one is because if you have ever picked up a terms and conditions contract or some sort of legal contract and you try to read it through, that is written by a lawyer with clauses in, or a legal trained professional, and guess which system they've used when they are trying to write it? That's right, they've used system 2 here. It's slow, it's conscious, it's effortful, and they've done it for good reason, because they logically need to cover themselves in certain situations. But the problem is big tough words, hard to understand text or hard to understand video actually doesn't communicate in a selling or persuasive way at all. It actually does completely the opposite. It activates the wrong brain. It activates system 2 instead of system 1, where we spend most of our times. Something else that we can focus on is how can we say what we want to say as concisely as possible? How can we be concise? People's attentions are at an all-time low here because that system 1 is working for you, but it's also working against you as well, because humans now are basically having their attention drawn every single place, right? And I appreciate the irony of that I've rambled on in this video as well. But I do think this is a really important point. It's like one of the fundamental principles of human psychology. A famous psychologist named Daniel Kahneman actually won a Nobel Prize for his work, and he created all of this and he theorized it, and like a lot of work has been built on top of it now. And so it's very, very important that you understand that we actually work in 2 different modes, and you might want to be logical and actively try and sell to your customers and clients and say, hey, this product is great because of X, Y, and Z, and it has all these features and it has all these things, you might have actually lost them in the process of doing that. So you should focus on, well, how can we just let them know concisely in a super understandable manner how this is relevant for them and how exactly this would help them in their quickest way possible, and how this has helped all these other people, and how, you know, authority shows that this is the right product for you, etc., or service or whatnot. And so go on Google, download that diagram yourself, and hopefully it can become your favorite diagram as well, as it did for me. Now, I've spoken a little bit about authority in this video, and you can be super understandable, you can be clear and easy to understand, you can do things in a concise manner, but if you don't trigger authority in the right way, people actually won't listen to you, and then they'll go to somewhere else which does trigger authority and gets their customers to buy because it helps ease their uncertainty. If that might be you and you want to learn a little bit more about authority, I recently did a workshop for an organization where I did this whole presentation for them, explaining the authority, explaining ins and outs. Put it on the screen now, you can go and check it out, and I will see you in the next one if you go and click that video. Take care.